Hey, No Bunk fam. Hope you're doing well. We are here with Alison Takamiya, George Fox, great golfer here, national champion. And we're going to talk about what it's like to play for Coach MJ, what it's like to play collegiate golf, and also dive into some sports psychology. So, Allison, how are you doing today?
Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm doing really good today. I'm excited to be here and just excited to share a little bit of my story, my experiences with you all.
Well, first and foremost, I want to talk about the recruiting process. So, what was it like getting to George Fox as a high school golfer, and what made you choose George Fox?
Yeah. When I think back to that point in time, I knew I wanted to play college golf after school. I didn't exactly know where, didn't have a strong preference of where at first, but I started reaching out to some coaches, mainly along the West Coast, because I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii. So I knew I wanted to get out of there for a bit, just experience life somewhere brand new. I was looking at West Coast schools just because they weren't super far, but it was enough of a change where I could get those new experiences I wanted. And so I had reached out to some coaches in California and one in Washington and then MJ in Oregon. And I actually had two high school teammates who played for George Fox before me. So they were kind of the ones that introduced me to the school, and I'd learned about the program through them. So once I had met Coach MJ in person, she was the main coach that kind of gave me the vibe that she actually wanted me on the team. She was really excited to have me. And I feel like that's really important with recruiting, because especially for people like me wanting to move away from home for the first time, it's really important that your coach, who is kind of like a new adult figure in your life, is someone that you trust, someone that you feel comfortable around, and someone that will make that transition period just a little easier. And that's exactly what Coach MJ and the golf program at George Fox felt like. And looking back, I'm really happy I made that decision, seeing as I decided to stay here for my fifth year.
Awesome. And so one of the things that came through in our conversation with Coach MJ was just how much she loved and cared for her players, but also the dynamic of how hard she would coach her players. So when you walked into that program, what was the coaching like, and what made a difference in terms of taking you from a high school player with a lot of potential to a collegiate player who is able to recognize their potential?
I think she definitely has a lot to do with it. She's really good at helping you recognize your strengths, your weaknesses as well, but we mainly focus on our strengths because she's all about positivity, all about training your mind to look at things glass half full, not empty. Glass half full. And that's honestly made such a huge difference in my personal life as well, because all the lessons she teaches us, you can take it into school, take it just anywhere that's relevant to your life. And for me, I've continued to just kind of buy into her philosophy. And it's a process. It's definitely something you need to work at. And I feel like it needs to be talked about more. And it's really important from the sports psychology standpoint, because it just results in better performance. And like, even if you don't necessarily shoot the low score or whatever sport it may be, if you don't perform as well as you want to, you learn how to deal with the adversity and use it to propel you towards the future. And I feel like that's something that I hadn't really learned how to do, or something I hadn't really committed myself to until coming to George Fox and being coached by MJ. So it's just really valuable, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's beautiful. And one of the things that I take from that message is that you allowed yourself to be vulnerable so that you had an opportunity to learn and develop your skills. So for you as a very talented, high performance athlete, how did you feel about being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be taught and to be coached, and also challenging yourself against some of the best competition in the country?
Yeah. For me, I just tried to keep as open of a mind as possible. I guess that kind of came with going somewhere new as well. I'm just being surrounded by different culture, different people, like new people that I haven't ever met before in my life. So that's kind of just coming into college. I feel like I was very open-minded. I know it is hard for some people to kind of see things that way, but for me, I kind of just looked at it as like, this is a new opportunity, just make the most out of it. I guess another thing that like we talk about with our team is with golf in general, it's like even if you're not having the greatest day on the course, like at least you're golfing. Like the bottom line, there are so many other things in the world going on that it's just really important to recognize the privileges you do have. Just be grateful for it because that's all you really can be sometimes.
Yeah, no, gratitude is a very important thing in life, not only in performance, but just in emotional wellness. Being able to find the moments in between the weeds where the flowers kind of bloom and blossom in your life. I think that's truly important. So I'm going to pause really quick because I did a poor job of introducing you. So could you explain to the audience what you and your teammates have been able to accomplish at George Fox over the past 4 years that you've been there? You're entering your fifth because of the COVID year. You're taking an extra year. Can you remind the audience of what George Fox has been able to accomplish?
Yeah. So since my freshman year, we've been able to win our conference championships. We just play with schools in Oregon and Washington. But we've also been able to compete down in California. We host a tournament in Arizona and just play some pretty competitive teams as well from other parts of the country. But we've been able to go to nationals every year. And so far, I think we've come in third. And then my junior year, we were able to win it as a team for the first time in program history. So that was really exciting. And this past year, we came in fourth as a team. But we were originally in ninth place going into the last day. So to shoot up 5 days on that final round, and we shot a team tournament record of 1 under as a team. So that was really exciting too. But yeah, overall, the program has just been really successful. It's cool to see the university that we're representing just kind of being talked about on a national level because it's this small school in the middle of not nowhere in Oregon, but a small town in Oregon. Not a lot of people have heard of it. So it's really cool to just see how far the name can travel.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, that's such amazing results over a 4-year run. And one of the things that I'm reminded of is that sometimes when athletes or teams climb the mountain and they actually win, it's really hard to get them motivated after that win because there's such an emotional release. You've accomplished everything that you were looking for, particularly if a lot of those people had won for the first time and aren't repeat winners. So for your team and for you specifically as the national champ that year, what did it take for you to get back into the process of getting hungry again and getting yourself excited about the next upcoming season?
Yeah. I think it's just knowing that sky's the limit. That's something MJ always tells us. She's always saying, even if you think you're good, there's always more potential in you. There's always more that you can go after. And just holding that champion mentality is really important on the golf course in people's prospective fields. But I think it's just also being surrounded by a team of girls who want to push each other and who kind of just understand the responsibility of being a part of a team like ours. Because that accountability aspect is really important too. So, if someone's working out at the gym, then maybe I should work out at the gym a little more, or I'm just putting in the extra hours. I feel like golf also is a nice kind of escape from the school, definitely. Sometimes if you're all day in classes or studying for an exam or whatever it may be, it is really nice to be able to either hop in the indoor center, hit some balls, or just being outside is really nice. So again, just kind of taking the time to appreciate being able to play the sport in general is really, it helps a lot.
Yeah, totally. And as a fan, I love college sports because you have the student part of it and you have the athlete part. So you know how hard everybody's working to excel in the classroom. And then after, the brain drain and exhaustion of that, they drag themselves on the court, the ice, the field, the course
Yeah.
to then try to excel outside of that. And we have so much attention on the PGA and the LPGA and some of those professional tours. Why should people care and pay attention to collegiate golf? Love it, but convince those
Yeah.
naysayers.
I definitely think, well, collegiate, just from having the experience of playing it, kind of like you were mentioning, it's like there's all these other responsibilities on top of it. And like, while yes, like when you play professionally, there's life responsibilities, but I think especially because during college, those are the most formative periods of your life where a lot of people just move move out of home and are kind of learning to become their own person. So it's really I really like collegiate sports because it's like you're kind of figuring, people are figuring out all that. They're figuring out school, what they want to do with their lives as well. But a lot of the times the sport can be kind of that outlet where you can let stress go or just something to enjoy. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for collegiate athletes because like I know the struggle of what it's like to be juggling around school, the homework. Sometimes people are working jobs outside of it, trying to meet with teams for group projects. So I've kind of like been through. I remember my senior year, it was just busy where my days would be jam packed from like 8 a.m. and sometimes I wouldn't get back home until probably like 7 or 8 p.m. So just out all day doing things. And it's like, I feel like you don't see that a lot, especially with schools or especially with Division 3 schools as well, because people kind of put it on the back burner. They're like, okay, they're not D1, so they're not as good. But I think it kind of, at the end of the day, especially with a sport like golf, kind of just comes down to more of the work ethic. And even if we're not waking up early to work out or practice every day like a typical D1 would do, it's kind of up to the individual, like, okay, am I going to put in that work on myself? And I think that's really, it just shows a lot about someone's character, someone's work ethic.
Yeah. We often talk about somebody's why as the fuel to be able to accomplish a lot of things because you don't need a why and you can be successful, but you will hit a roadblock. You will eventually hit a wall because that why is what actually gets you through the wall. And so when I think about you, the why of being not only individually successful, but also collectively successful. You want to score well for yourself, but you also feel more enjoyment and more pleasure out of scoring well for the team because, like you said, you know how hard your classmates study to get good grades and stay eligible. You know how hard they work out in the gym. You know how many hours they're spending in the sim. And that ability to think internally, but also think externally has probably served you really well and has made you such a beloved teammate.
Yes, thank you. I think, yeah, looking at, or it's really nice having teammates because it kind of helps you motivate yourself a little. I think at the end of the day, definitely like your kind of like your why. It has to be something internal, but it's never or it's always a good thing to be able to rely on or just kind of look at other people to help you and guide you because that's what they're there for. And that's what college is for too, just to kind of learn how to learn from other people as well.
No doubt, no doubt. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. This is not serious. It's completely
Okay,
unserious. So don't worry, don't worry. But I'm
perfect.
just curious. Yeah, no, you gotta go. Be afraid. I'm going to ask you some questions because I'm just curious, given your experience. So what's your favorite hometown course in Hawaii? And what's your favorite course that you want to play in the future?
My favorite course in Hawaii, I would say, well, I feel like I have to say the country club that we belong to back home. My dad's a member at Mid-Pac Country Club, but honestly really do enjoy the course. It's in this cool little beach town, and just the drive out there is always really relaxing. You get to drive through the mountains, then go drive kind of somewhat along the beach. And the course itself, the front nine is flat and then the back nine gets hilly. So it's a good mix of different terrains and great greens really fast. And then learning how to play with the grain is really important, especially when I think to the future. So I think a future course that I'd like to play, definitely Augusta. There's all the hype around the Masters, of course. It'd be really cool to play Pinehurst. I don't know. Yeah. I also want to play internationally. I don't know the names of many courses internationally, but just playing in another country would be amazing. So that's on the goal for the future.
That's dope. That's dope. Favorite club in the bag, least favorite club in the bag.
I would say favorite club, probably putter. But today, when I was practicing, I really liked my 7-iron. And I would say least favorite, as of right now, it would be my 3-wood. It's just not, I like to draw the ball. And right now, it has this little fade going on. So I'm just trying to get my draw back. But I'm learning how to love it again.
Well, I'm guessing I would be a better golfer if my favorite club was my putter, but it's not. So I need to make my favorite club the putter for
Yep.
sure. Favorite golfer that you love to watch could be a current golfer, former golfer, professional golfer though. Favorite professional golfer.
Yeah, I would say on the women's side, I really like Lydia Ko. I love how calm she is on the course. Just her game in general, everything is so admirable, and I aspire to be like her. On the men's side, honestly, I don't think I have one favorite. I got to go to the Sony Open when I was down when they were playing in Hawaii a few weeks ago when I was home for winter break, and I got to see Hideki, which is really cool because he had just won the Century the week before. Got to see Sahith Gala. I don't know, just watching golf in general is I love it. Just seeing how far they can hit it, how they can shape their shots on command, knowing that the conditions are tougher for them. So seeing how they can um, adjust to that. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And last but not least, I would love for you to give a recruiting pitch. We can use the podcast for recruiting. We got NILs now. I think this is legal in the NCAA. But if somebody right now is looking at George Fox to play golf and play for Coach MJ and to be able to walk in the legacy of you and the other players that came there, what would be the elevator pitch that you would give them?
I would say that this is the place that you'll definitely feel a sense of community on the team and then in the classroom, just around the campus in general, because of how small the school is. Like for me, that was one of the biggest selling points. Like as I mentioned, because I was moving so far from home. But I think also like this is the place to go if you truly do want to challenge yourself, if you want to be around like-minded people who are reaching and striving towards that common goal of winning the national championship, but also just becoming a more well-rounded person in general. And I think it's just the place to be if you want to, I don't know, just explore more of who you are, but like doing so in such a safe environment. Because I think it is important to obviously try new things. For me, like I like knowing that I do have this community that will help guide.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Like you said, I know you just came from practice. I'm sure you have some studying to do, and you're on the West Coast, so it's still early in the day, and you
Yeah.
still decided to spend some time with us. So I appreciate you for that. Allison, we will talk to you later. No Bunk Fam, check out the podcast, check out the clips. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Peace. Bye.